Hey everyone, my name is Sabrina. My channel is The Hopeful Minimalist. It's a safe space for handbag admiration. So if you are a lover of handbags, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. I hope you all are doing well today and you had a long and enjoyable long weekend. In today's video, I want to deliver some updates, some details that I had previously promised to deliver. And these details are surrounding some unfortunate events that happened to me recently. And maybe sharing this information will, I don't know, inform you, make you aware of things that can go wrong, and possibly help you know what to do when they go wrong. Is this not the cutest water bottle? This is a collab with Stanley and Loveshack Fancy, and I have to say that I went up until now not being interested in the whole Stanley Cup thing at all. Zero interest. I think the cups, they're really huge. Not something that I would be excited to carry around. If that's your thing, go for it. I just was never interested in the Stanley Cups until this collaboration. I absolutely love it. If you know Love Shack Fancy, it's like all things floral and girly and tea party and like pastries. And I love it. I only own like one piece of clothing from Love Shack Fancy because I mean, it's really expensive and I'm not about to pay what they're charging for most items. But I have this denim jacket that I got from them a couple of years ago, and I really like it. It's super girly, and it has this like washed 80s denim color to it. I was able to totally resist Stanley Cups until I saw that water bottle. We have to do a bag of the day. I'm still in I think I called her big sister the other day because this is the big sister to my Alma BB. This is the Alma PM, and it's in the Damier Ebene print. I'm using my monogram Louis Vuitton strap with it, and I absolutely love how it contrasts with the Damier Ebene. It's like the same color scheme, different print, and I really do like how it looks. Speaking of this strap, I want to try it on a bag that I have sitting here. It's this bag. This bag is from Vintage Boho Bags, and I have this bag sitting here because it's part of the storyline for today. So I want to try the strap on it though first to see how it looks, because if you recall, when I first showed you this bag, I talked about how the strap that came with it was a little bit longer than what I preferred, or a lot of bit longer. And so I had ended up using a vachetta strap from Dress Up Your Purse with it. So I don't know, I'll have to try this on later and see how it looks. I mean, it matches. It's more so, does the style agree? You know, boho with like a sleek design. So yeah, I'll have to do a mod shot in it and let you all tell me what you think. So back to the bag purchasing nightmares. I have my trusty iPad here with notes because I want to hit a few different points. There are two events that I'm talking about when I say bag nightmares, unfortunate events. The first one is the counterfeit bag situation. So I briefly talked about this with you all in a previous video. And back to the vintage boho bag. So I like this bag a lot. And I explained in a previous video that vintage boho bags, they source vintage bags from people like you and me, basically buy them, and then they redo most of, if not all of, the leather work on the bag. So they redo it not to make it look like an original, but to give it a boho vibe. So in this example, you can see the braided leather around the outside of this bag. Now, there are pieces of leather that they did not remove and redo, and I'm completely fine with that. But they did most of it. They removed the vachetta from this part, from here, of course, and along the front. And they replace it with vachetta leather, but instead of it being the plain version, it's braided. I liked it so much that I wanted to experience the Samir 30, which is what this style is. I wanted to experience it in its original form. So, meaning not any boho chic going on. Like, I just wanted the original version of the Samir 30. If the leather had been redone by Louis Vuitton, I was cool with that, but it wasn't like a requirement of mine. So I start searching the internet for a vintage Samir 30 handbag. And one of the first results that came up was a bag from My Gemma. The bag that came up in the results from My Gemma looked like it was in pretty good condition. It had the honey patina. It wasn't stark white, so it didn't look like it had been freshly redone by Louis Vuitton. I was fine with that. And I'm mentioning that because it's kind of related to the second scenario, but I just wanted to experience the bag in its original form because of the canvas. The canvas on this bag is unlike anything I've ever had when it comes to Louis Vuitton canvas pieces. There's this a thickness to it. I really can't describe it, but I love the way that it feels, and I can't think of any other bags in my collection that feel this way. The closest would have to be my pochette accessories, the multi-pochette accessories. That's the closest thing, but nothing else feels like this. Everything else either feels softer or thinner, and this one just feels thick. It feels like, it reminds me like an old library book. I know that sounds weird, but that's what it reminds me of. It's like, I love the sound that it makes, and I know some of that is a combination of the canvas and the leather, but I just love the vintage feel that it has, and I love the color of the canvas as well. And so I just wanted another vintage bag, and since I like this style so much, I decided to go with this style. So anyway, did the search. My Gemma came up. I had never heard of My Gemma, so I did some research on it, Googled, read Trustpilot reviews. I think Better Business Bureau came up as well. Everything I read was positive. I didn't see any negative reviews, and I probably could have kept digging a bit more, but I was pretty satisfied with what I saw, and so I went forward with the purchase. I received the bag. I will put in some footage of my unboxing. I was very satisfied with the unboxing process. It was double boxed, so there was one shipper on the outside. It contained the box, which had the bag in it. Both boxes had shipping labels on it, so to me that made me feel like they were being thoughtful when it came to what may happen to the outer shipping label. They wanted to have it covered in case, the inner box ended up having to be used. I was impressed with that. Even when I opened the box, they had some paperwork sitting on top, like in a plastic bag or a plastic sheet protector. I thought that was thoughtful. It was packaged very well. All of that was very impressive to me, even because you'd be surprised at how some companies package up and ship bags. It could use some improvement, I'll just say. So I was satisfied with all of that, and then I pulled out the bag. When I laid eyes on the bag, I felt something in me, just kind of like, I don't know. I felt an inner disappointment because it didn't look like I thought it should look. I'm expecting something like this. Qualities that I'm describing and that I'm talking about, you can't see always in pictures. It doesn't come across. You can't hear the sound. You can't feel the way the canvas feels. So I didn't see any of these things in the pictures when I looked at the bag. But as soon as I took it from the box, I was like, okay, something's not right. It looked completely different. The canvas looked hazy, muted, like there was a thin coat of wax on top of it. It just wasn't the same. And no, this canvas is not shiny, but there's just something about it that I cannot put my finger on it, but it's there. This canvas has it. That canvas on the counterfeit bag did not have it. And I knew it immediately. It felt completely different. It was like it was almost too smooth. And I couldn't feel the grain, which I know some canvases are different. Others have more grain than the next. It still was different, and I knew it was a bad difference. So I'm looking at the bag. I have this one on the countertop right next to it, and I'm doing a comparison. I even went and got some other monogram pieces from my closet because I'm like, well, maybe this is what people are talking about when they say that vintage canvas is so much better than the more current canvas. Like maybe I'm witnessing what they're talking about. I wasn't buying that. I was not buying that. It was just a difference in the canvas being current versus vintage. This was just bad canvas. I went online to Legit Grails. I've talked about Legit Grails before. They are who I prefer to use, and I developed a preference for Legit Grails back when I had to authenticate something I got from eBay. And what I noticed about them is that they not only gave me the authentication results, but they gave me reasons as to why the result was what it was. Like they would say, this is authentic because we looked at the placement of the stamping, or we looked at the font used and we know that it matches with the standard. And so a lot of other companies would charge you extra for giving you that explanation and for giving you a certificate of authentication. And Legit Grails did not charge extra. I think what I did pay extra for was for the timing. Like I wanted it really quickly, and that is what I paid extra for. But anyways, by this time I had seen the Handbag Housewife's video on Legit Grails, so I used her code to get, I think it might have been 10 or 15% off. I'll link her video below. But I did use her code to get a discount, and I snapped the pictures that they requested, and I had an answer within minutes, and they said it was fake. And that's what I was expecting to see. If they had said it was authentic, I would have questioned it, definitely, but they said it was fake, and they gave me a list of reasons why. There was a PDF that I was able to forward to my Gemma because I immediately wrote them an email. I went to their website first to see if I could initiate the return myself, and I could not. What I ended up having to do is just use their contact email to request a return. I heard back from them probably within an hour. They were always really pleasant to work with. They said, we stand by our authenticity process, and when we receive it back, we will put it back through whatever their authentication process is. They mentioned using entropy, and the way that they mentioned it made me think that maybe they didn't use it initially, and I'm not sure why they wouldn't have done that. But this is my speculation, and this is all, allegedly. It's just my opinion and my take. The process was pretty seamless. They sent me a return label. I printed it out. They asked if I could package up the bag in the way that I had received it, which I did. Another thing about the bag was the honey patina. Don't ever get tripped up by the honey patina, because that does not mean that a bag is authentic. And I didn't think that. I just want to say that I think the patina can give you a false sense of security because someone has been using this bag. It has aged well, and it can almost look legit. If the patina has this honey color, don't be fooled by that, because this bag had it, and I do not believe it was authentic. So I got it shipped back. They received it and they refunded me promptly. I did not have to follow up with them, ask any questions. Have you received the bag? How long is it going to take? I didn't have to do any of that. They refunded me quickly. So, situation number two, I felt like I wasn't defeated. I was happy with the refund process. And at some point, I had gone on Poshmark and I was looking at another Samir 30 and actually put in an offer for this particular bag. Then somehow I happened across a Minnow Montaigne. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was another vintage style Louis Vuitton bag. It's discontinued, looked brand new because the leather had been replaced by Louis Vuitton. Again, pictures showed a pristine handbag. The receipt was included with from Louis Vuitton for the rework of the leather. So I actually canceled the order on the Samir 30 and went with the Minnow Montaigne. It was gorgeous. I'm still upset too about that. But anyways, I placed the order through Poshmark. The seller of this bag shipped it directly to Poshmark, where they do Poshmark authenticate, and I think they also inspect it just to make sure it matches with the description from the seller. If it passes, then they ship it to the buyer. I was out of town. I figured that that process would take several days, and indeed it did. So I'm away at work all week, very busy week. I did not keep up with the tracking, which normally I do. I'm like refreshing tracking to see where it is, how long before it's delivered. I just wasn't thinking about it, just was too busy. So I think about it on Friday afternoon when I'm on the airplane. I looked at Poshmark. I see that I had a message from the seller from the day before asking if I could review the bag. She said, "Did you get it? Can you look at it and rate me so that I can get paid?" I respond to the seller, "Yes, the bag was delivered. I got it. My husband got it," which wasn't completely true because I had not verified with him that he had this specific package. Like, I didn't use the tracking number to say, "Do you have this one?" I just knew he had several packages of mine. I assumed that this is one of them. So I message her back and say, "I do have the bag. My husband got it for me. I'm on an airplane headed home. As soon as I get there, I will inspect it and rate you." I got home from the airport and I'm looking for the bag. Not finding it. I see packages that are way too small to be this bag. And so I'm alarmed at this point, and I'm asking my husband, "Are there any other packages for me?" And he says no. So I go to the tracking, request the proof of delivery. And for USPS, the proof of delivery is really just a sheet of paper that has the signature of the recipient and their handwritten name, as well as their name typed out on this form. So I download the proof of delivery. I see that someone signed for the package, don't recognize the name, don't know who they are. I'm showing it to my husband. He's like, clearly that's not me. I don't have it. I haven't even signed for any packages. At this point, it's late on Friday. I can't call USPS or go there because they're closed. So first thing Saturday morning, I call and I read off the tracking number to someone at the local postal service or post office. She puts me on hold and she kind of didn't want to say that it had been misdelivered, but that's what she had to say. She said, "Your bag was not delivered to the correct address. We will send the mail carrier there today to where it was misdelivered to see if they'll retrieve it." And I'm like, okay, so it was taken to the wrong house and someone signed for it? And she said, "Yes, apparently so. We will send a carrier there to retrieve it. If they won't give it to us, we can't make them. We will have to involve the postal police." So that was my first hearing of the postal police. And I thought that if they couldn't get it, that maybe they would go back with the postal police to like explain that this is a crime if you keep someone else's package, so on and so forth. Anyways, um, she said she'd call me with the results. And what actually happened is the mail carrier stopped by my home that day. And she explained to me that she could not retrieve the package. And I'm like, so what do I do now? And she said, well, I would probably file a claim and you can call the post office back with questions on how to do that. So I'm like, is this really happening? Like, that's it? I didn't feel like USPS was going to bat for me when they are the ones that made the error. So I was so upset, like so upset. I told my husband what happened and he wasn't understanding either. Like, why aren't they doing more to fix the issue? Because I'm like, I'm just going to walk around from door to door and ask, did you get this package? Does this signature look familiar to you? That wasn't smart. So I did not do that. Long story short, there are a lot of details that I'm going to leave out on purpose because at the end of the day, I don't know what happened to it. I don't know who got it. I don't know what happened. All I know is that supposedly the package was delivered to the wrong house. Someone signed for it and wouldn't give it back. That's what I was told. I don't know what happened. So all of the in between, I'm just going to have to keep to myself because I don't know what happened. But it was a strange, strange, strange situation. Some very strange things were said, and some strange things happened during the course of a week. The way that the story ends is that I had to keep following up with Poshmark. I sent the seller a couple of messages because I always thought the seller had to file a claim. And in this case, it was different. I ended up being refunded by Poshmark because of their Poshmark Protect policy, which is if you don't receive the item that you thought you were going to receive, or if it never ships, we will fully refund you. And Poshmark lived up to that policy and to that promise, and I appreciate that. This was one of the worst experiences ever because when someone steals something or takes something from you that doesn't belong to them, it's angering, it's frustrating, especially when you feel like you're powerless, you don't know what to do, and what can you even do? Like, walk around door to door and demand, your package? No, not smart. Don't do that. And USPS, like I said, I didn't feel like they were doing anything and they weren't working hard for me when they made the error. Like, no, maybe they didn't take the package, but they are the beginning of the failure here. Like, you took it to the wrong house. That's what the GPS said. And after that, it doesn't even matter. Like, you started this cycle of failure. So I was frustrated for well over a week. I still think about it a little bit just because I'm curious as to what happened to it. But during the period where I was out of a bag and out of the money, I was just in the worst mood ever. I was furious. I was sad. I was, on the internet, Googling what happens, looking at all these different scenarios that other people had dealt with stolen packages, lost packages. It was really hard to be patient while, they so-called investigate what was happening. And it was just the longest week ever. The last day that I followed up with Poshmark, I think was last week, last Thursday or Friday. I sent them an email like, can somebody please help me and just tell me what do we do next? Do you need anything from me? The response that I got, which was I got pretty quickly, just said that I have canceled your order and you have been refunded. And the refund actually showed up today, probably because of the holiday. But they sent me a copy of the refund. I saw it go back to my account today, and that's the end of it. I have gotten a couple of letters from the post service or the post office, postal service, saying that they apologize. Got another one today saying that my service request was missing the tracking number. I'm like, really, y'all? There's no way I left the tracking number out of that service request. But either way, it's resolved. It's done as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I wish I knew what happened to the bag. I looked at consignment websites in the area and Facebook Marketplace. It never turned up. So maybe someone wanted it to use it for themselves. I don't know. It's none of my business anymore. The issue is resolved, and I'm so thankful that both scenarios here were resolved the way that they were. Like, I got my money back, and I'm just so thankful for that. I know that people have been scammed and things have been stolen from people, and they were not made whole in the end. And I'm just so thankful that it ended in my favor this way. I wanted to give you all some details, just so that you know what can happen and what the process might look like if it does happen to you. If something like this does happen to you regarding USPS, always file a service request first so that they start looking into it. Call your local post office as well, not just the 1-800 number. Call the one that like serves and delivers to your area and speak to someone there first, because they can have some boots on the ground, kind of look into it for you. And if this was a legitimate case of misdelivery, they would send someone out to get your package back. And, that would be a possible resolution. So just always start with a service ticket, make phone calls to the people that are local. And I hope you don't have to go through this. But if you do, I wish you the best of luck. Try to keep a cool head. Try to stay focused on the important things, because these are just things that can always be replaced. Don't let yourself get completely consumed with it. Don't get too angry. Have your blood pressure up because you're mad and you're like, who has my package? I know it's like a natural reaction, but it's not going to solve your problem. And definitely don't go door to door asking people if they have your package. But yeah, if you have any questions about either of these scenarios, feel free to leave it in the comment section. My lesson learned is just be content with what you have. Enjoy this bag. I was so in love with it though. I just wanted another vintage piece, and I haven't even had this one a month yet. So enjoy what you have, and yeah. Peace. I'll see you all in the next video.